If you become smaller around men you like the most, it's not because you're weak, it's because you feel like being your full self will cost you a connection. The truth is you do not shrink around everyone. Not at all. At work, you don't shrink, you shine, actually. With your friends group, you're pretty cool. That's why you have a good friend group. When family, you're good, right? But when it comes to romantic relationship, for some reason in this particular area, you feel the need to shrink and feel and get smaller. But when it comes to love, when it comes to men and romantic relationship, there's almost a trigger to shrink yourself. Right? It feels that being your full self almost feels like too expensive, too exposed, too expensive. It's going to cost you too much. That's what I mean by too expensive. It's going to cost you the love that you seek, romantic relationship that you seek. So you believe that shrinking lowers the risk of rejection. Like if you play smaller and you just are more quiet about who you are and what, like the true self, like who you really are, that the type of man that you want will not want you. So you become easier, more quiet, softer. Let me not be so demanding because I don't want him to feel like I'm a tough, woman or whatever, right? You become super accommodating so he doesn't feel challenged by your full self, by the full version of who you are. So you shrink and you sink. And so the thing is, the more you like him, the more you do this. That's the thing. The more you like him, the more you shrink. The more you like him, the more you negotiate and you display a version of yourself that's not the full you. And here's the thing, it's not that he's asking you to do this, you're doing this on your own. This is what I call the queen wound, right? The queen wound is you believe that in order to be loved, you have to be less. And in this particular video, the way this shows up is you shrink when it comes to romantic relationship. I call this a sink, right? You sink, you hide your excellence, you hide who you really are in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, in order to accommodate an ego that he hasn't even displayed that he has, or to accommodate something that has not been asked of you. You are doing this in your own you are doing this on your own. The thing is, right, shrinking creates a false connection, right? When you shrink, he's not connecting with the real you, right? The smaller version of you is not the real you. You're not doing anyone a favor when you do that, right? And you still end up feeling insecure because you're like, well, when he finds out the real me, what's gonna happen? Like there's still that sense of fear. So this shrinking doesn't actually work. The reason why we're discussing it, because I just want you to know and be aware, I wonder if I'm doing this in relationship, or I'm not aware of it, but now it's like, okay, I guess I am showing up this way. I guess I am shrinking. I guess I am hiding the things I've achieved. And it's not about pushing the things that you've achieved in someone's face. Now I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but you're intentionally, and you know what I mean. If this is you know exactly what I mean, where you're just hiding, like you're hiding how magnificent you are. You're hiding things that you've done. You're literally hiding, and you're like, nope, this scares men away because of messages that you've probably seen somewhere. You got the message somewhere that you're doing too much, you're being too much. And so you've learned that, be quiet. And I have a personal experience with that where I remember when I was younger, my uncle said, Queenette, your mouth is gonna get you in trouble. And I had to do a lot of healing work around that shame. And it felt like shame at the time. And I carried that shame with me. That Queenette, your mouth is gonna get you in trouble. Now as a speaker, as a coach, I've coached so many women. My mouth doesn't get me in trouble. My mouth is the tool that I use to change lives, transform the lives of people, to connect, to do the work that I do. And so imagine carrying that kind of shame when I was called to do this work, right? And so for you, right, all the things that you've achieved in life, all the things that you've done in your career, in life, and the way you live, the way, that you deserve to live fully present, to live completely showing up as who you are. And the right man for you will never think that you're too much. The right man for you will never think that you're too much. He's gonna be like, wow, you are so good. I love you. And not because I love you for what you've achieved. I love you unconditionally because of the totality of who you are. That's really the invitation. So I want you to get aware of this. I want you to see in what ways are you shrinking, in what ways are you hiding, in what ways are you sinking. So again, the invitation here is when you're dating, right? Allow the full you to be revealed. Healing this looks like the real you is revealed. The real you steps into every room. You carry all of you with you. And knowing that the right person for you will never see that as too much, will never be intimidated by that. And just another thing, right? Again, I think that's what I already said. The right person for you can never be intimidated by everything that comes with you when you come in to the relationship, when you come to the table, when you come into the room. Like it's quite impossible, right? And so that's the shift that needs to happen. As you begin to heal, that's the shift that will happen. So shrinking, right, is all part of that whole protecting this identity, protecting your authentic self. If I shrink, I don't have to expose myself. I don't have to be too much. If I have an opinion, well, I don't share the opinion, right? And honestly, like I feel like, even though, just to wrap it up, like I feel like I did that too in the past, right? When I was dating my now husband, I was just like, listen, I can't, in this case, I said, I was like, I'm not gonna be, that traditional, wife, that traditional Nigerian wife that you want. Because, and this funny thing is, so funny how life works, because now, of course, I do so many different things, but you find yourself doing this where you're shrinking when you like a man, a particular man, or you shrink around certain men, because you want to be accepted, or you want to be accepted, you want to be more palatable. It's really the word I'm looking for. I want you to let me know in the comments, right? Is this how you show up in some relationship? Can you recognize yourself in this, or in the past, right? Let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, definitely leave it in the comment section. More importantly, I want you to subscribe, because we're having the deeper level conversation that high achieving women, in my opinion, deserve to have, so that they can experience romantic love at a level that will blow their minds, right? My goal is that you meet and marry the right man for you, and that all of who you are, you can bring to the table. All of who you are gets to be accepted, right? And that you never think that you're too much, and you definitely never feel like you have to be smaller in order to be loved. That the right person for you loves you unconditionally, and that we do have work that we do here, and the kind of work that we do is on an identity level. It's not go how to meet 100 men, how to go out on 100 more dates. And it's not that you don't do those things, but for me, I feel like all the work that needs to be done, whenever it's done at the identity level, and identity level is what you think about yourself, how you see yourself when it comes to romantic relationship, when it comes to love. What are some of those triggers that's coming up that sometimes it feels like you can't help it? It's almost like automatic. It's like, that's why it's a trigger. What are the patterns in your relationship that hasn't worked, especially when it comes to romantic relationship, right? So those are the things that we're gonna look at. Those are the things that we're gonna explore. And my goal here is to work with you on the identity and self-leadership level, so that you can have the type of love that you want. Because if I know anything about you, is that your life is great, but when it comes to romantic relationship, there's just a piece, it feels like a piece of the puzzle that's just missing, right? And so my goal is to help you put that puzzle together and enjoy being held by a man who can hold you. Like literally, like I'm an example of that. I've been married for 20 years, and the conversation is different with a man that sees you for who you are, and is not intimidated, is not scared. In fact, he's like, you can do more. You can do it. And not from a place of, oh, go get burnt out. No, from a place of, I support your dreams. I support your vision. I support your goals. Whatever you desire in your heart, you can have. And if you desire to rest and put your feet up, rest. Because I've had those seasons where it's like, I'm not doing anything, and I've been supported. So it's up to you. And I just want that flexibility for you. I want you to be able to have exactly what you want. Okay. So subscribe if that resonates. And I look forward to reading some of your comments and getting to know you some more. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.